Welcome Africa. Welcome my world. Once again today I want to have a discussion about something that is very important for Africa. I want to address a matter called, is Africa free? Africa is a mighty continent with a lot of nations. Africa is a great continent with a lot of lakes. Africa is a great continent, and it's the only continent with the youngest population. You know, when you have the youngest population, it simply means you've got enough energy, like the energy of a volcano. Now, the challenge we have is that we need to look back after many nations have gotten independent. Is Africa really free? We see that we are politically free, but most nations in Africa are economically bound. Now, if we look at the problem with African governments, 50 years of independence and not having your own budget, letting the West putting in your budget after 50 years of independence, is that freedom? Hell, is that freedom? Is Africa free? One of the major challenges of Africa is that the mindset of African leaders and Africans is sometimes not very good. If I do this word, I'll say sometimes it's pathetic. Because Africa is so rich, yet so poor. If I were to say this, most of Europe today has been built by African labor, African gold, African ivory, African minerals. In a lot of the things that they've come from Africa, the artwork from Africa, is the one which is in European museums. Now, are we really poor? And is Africa really free? Sometimes I begin to look at situations where I see in the African Union, where I see a president of one country in Europe addressing African leaders as if African leaders are councillors of a particular ward or a particular province. That looks like demotion. Is Africa free? Now, I'll talk about just one main thing that I feel is a challenge, two things that I feel is a challenge in African freedom, because the mind of Africans mostly is not free, because sometimes the interdependence syndrome in Africa is killing us. We begin to feel like you are where you are because somebody is responsible. Is that true? Because in the time of independence, Dr. Kenneth David Kaunda, Kwame Nkrumah, and the founding fathers of Africa used African resources to liberate Africa, like Zambia would be able to use its own resources to liberate South Africa, liberate Zimbabwe, Namibia, and these other countries behind here. From one country in Africa means today Zambia is too rich, very rich. We were rich there and it's too rich right now. But what has changed? Mindset change. Is Africa really free? And the main problem again here in Africa is the problem of master-servant relationship. And this reminds me Thomas Sankara, the president of Burkina Faso, the former president, is somebody who was teaching Africa and opening the minds of people not to borrow from the West, not to borrow, to live within your means, and to work in the African industries to begin to believe, to say you can wear an African cloth made by Africa and be proud to be Africa and trade with Africa. Why can't Africa trade with Africans? For example, why can't we respect African industries and support African industries like Zambia? Get a copper from Zambia, take it to Africa and Nigeria, and take it back to Zambia. And within Africa, let's do trade and see if we can be beggars. We cannot be begging for the resources which we already have in our continent. Africa must now be economically free because we are so rich. Like DRC is one of the richest, if not the richest country in mineral wealth. But why? The challenge again we have is that the West is a problem. Why is Congo being in constant war? Why is Nigeria, because of the oil, being in constant war? Why is Libya, because of the oil, because of the war? And this was started by Africans. Somebody somewhere is behind the wars of Africa. We need to wake up as Africans. Why again is Iraq in this battle? Why is the countries where there's oil really big in problems? And why is America ever in these countries where there's oil? Sometimes we need to begin to wake up. Let's begin to arise and understand that something is wrong somewhere. Take responsibility of your nations and let's take over. Africa must begin to rise up. We cannot be 70 years, 50 years down the line and still be dependent upon the West. We love you, the West, but it's time for Africa to take on African affairs. God bless.